How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Tressa's Collectibles channel. Today we're going to be looking at the latest addition to the BanG Dream franchise, which is going to be the MyGO and Ave Mujica extra booster, or not extra booster, booster pack, as well as the Ave Mujica trial deck. As we all know, all of the BanG Dream bands have to have their own trial deck, and so we have a whole bunch of new cards to look at. More importantly, we are going back to just having a music trait-centric set, which we haven't had in a bit, with the previous set for BanG Dream being the anniversary set that revolved pretty much entirely around the anniversary trait. I don't think there's a single card in the anniversary set that has music trait in its like effect text. And so now we are finally back to music trait. This opens up a whole bunch of new strategies with some extremely powerful cards. It has been one of the most dominant decks in the Japanese metagame for the last few months since its Japanese release, and honestly, it's expected to do exactly the same in the English format, especially since we have BanG Dream at full power with no restrictions whatsoever. Now, as far as these two groups, since, MyGO has been in Weiss Schwarz already with the MyGO trial deck that came out, I think it's been probably half a year at this point. Maybe more, not 100% sure. But it came out simultaneously with the premium booster for the Girls Band Party Anniversary Premium Booster Pack. And so we've already taken a look at MyGO with the trial deck, but now we're going to be taking a look at the other new group, Ave Mujica, which is, lore-wise, the original members of the band Crychick. They broke up and then eventually formed two different groups, those being MyGO and Ave Mujica. Ave has a completely new style for BanG Dream, even distinct from groups like Rhodesia and Afterglow, which were more on the rock side in terms of genre. Ave tends to go more towards the metal genre, very as you can see with their outfits, they have a very gothic Lolita style aesthetic. And their stage names, they kind of similar to Reza Suilan, they go by stage names instead of their real names, and they wear masks when they perform on stage. And so in terms of identifying cards, if you're not familiar with the BanG Dream franchise and these characters, it might be a little bit confusing because there are cards in the set that have both their real names and their stage names. So just I guess kind of keep that in mind going forward. As usual, we are going to be taking a look at one trial deck and two booster boxes, and we're going to be going in that order. But before we get into our opening, we of course have to take a look at our beautiful case topper playmat. This one has the arts for both of the secret rare cards, those being the 3/2. I think it's just a Tomori card, but it has everybody on the image. This is for the 3/2 Tomori combo. And then we have the 3/2 Dolores combo, which is the finisher for the Ave Mujica deck. And so these arts are also featured on each of the characters, the foil versions of their double Rs. So every character in these two groups has a double R for a total of 10 double Rs in the set. And then the artwork featured on the playmat are going to be the foil arts for each of those, both in the SR versions and their SP versions as well. As with all of the case topper playmats that have the stitched edge for the non-English original variety, these come only one per case. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, very beautiful playmat though. I'm very, even though these are just the stock arts that they are using for advertising the set, it's on the booster box and everything, I still think that these two arts are both really good, and there's a lot of incentive to foil out the cards in the set because they just do look really, really nice. Okay, so as far as ratios go, we're going to be starting with the trial deck. It's just going to have the usual ratios, pretty sure, where you're going to be expecting to get 2 SPs in a sealed case of 48 trial decks. And there are 5 different SPs that you can get, one for each of the members of the group. And without further ado, let's get right into it with our trial deck. So, as with all of the trial decks recently, we do have these triangular tabs on the bottom that I like to use to open up the box and keep it nice and neat. So you just go ahead and you flip open these triangular flaps, and then you can just kind of, sometimes it rips. I think it's going to rip this time, but You can usually just get this open nice and easily on the bottom. And you can take this out without having to like fuss with any of the tape or anything like that. As with a lot of the recent trial decks, every single card in this trial deck can come in a foil version. And so every trial deck is going to have the one guaranteed SR on the front and then have another one in the back. And then the other contents of the trial deck, we have the usual stuff like the quick play guide for having the rules to the game handy. And of course, our paper playmat for those of us who don't have a rubber playmat. And then, as with all of the paper playmats that come with these trial decks, on the back you can see some tips and tricks on how to play the deck, maybe some extra inclusions that you might want to put in if you get some cards from like the booster set or maybe a second copy of the trial deck. So a lot of really helpful stuff for new players. All right, now let's get right into the trial deck. So our first guaranteed foil, or I guess our only guaranteed foil, is the level 0 Dolores. So Dolores is her stage name. And then all of the Ave Mujica characters will have their own stage name as well. So we have like Oblivionis, Mortis, oh geez, I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. There's a lot of names. But this is going to be the level 0 Dolores. This is a runaway, no, this is just a free runner. So this is a 0/0 free runner with 1500 base power, and if you have 3 or less cards in stock, this gets plus 1k, so it can be a 2500 free runner. Pretty solid card. And as for the number of copies of each card that we're going to be getting in the trial deck, if we have 3 copies of the card at the front, then that means that we're going to be getting a full playset since the 4th copy is at the back. If there is only 1 copy, such as with this level 0 Climax Swap Oblivionis, that means that there are 2 copies of the card in the trial deck. So our next one is going to be the level 0 Mortis. So this is a on attack gain 3k, or during your turn gain 3k power, so it swings for 4k and is pretty easily able to clear most opposing level 0s, if not all opposing level 0s. And then at the beginning of the Encore step, if you do not have another rested character in your center stage, so your front row, you can pay 1 in order to rest this card. And so basically the idea behind this effect, since it can seem a little confusing at first glance, it basically means like if your entire front row is reversed, that means that you do not have another rested character in your front row. So you can pay 1 and then you can save this card. So it acts kind of like a pay 1 Encore with the condition that your entire front row has to have been cleared by your opponent's attackers. Okay, next up we have one of the most important cards from the trial deck for your like competitive collection, which is going to be the level 0 Oblivionis. This is a level 0 Clock Bomb as well as a Climax Swap. Between the 2 options for Climax Swaps within the set, we have this Oblivionis from the trial deck, and then we also have a level 0 Taki from MyGO, which is a sack a character Climax Swap. So those are going to be our 2 options. However, the Oblivionis is just a standard on-play, pay 1 Climax Swap. For those of you that just want the simple on-play, pay 1 version. For our level 1 combo for the trial deck, we have the level 1 Mortis. This gains 3k when placed on stage from hand, and then has a Climax combo with the Gold Bar Climax, Choir Esquire. And this card says, when this reverses a battle opponent, you can search your deck for a music character, and then give one of your other characters 2000 power until end of turn. So it's very, very powerful compared to like the original like Shimakaze profiles that just had an on-reverse search. With this being able to additionally give 2k power to a character in order to allow you to secure even more reverses throughout the rest of the turn. For our vanilla, we can't have a trial deck without a vanilla. We have the 1/1 Oblivionis with a Soul Trigger, so this one is just a 1/6k instead of a 1/7k. We have the 2/1 Mortis. This is just a big beat stick. She gains she gains 1,000 for each of your other characters, and then when she reverses a battle opponent, you salvage a music character and then discard a card. So 10k attacker, and also allows you to hand fix through the mid game. And then here we have one of the other star cards of the trial deck, another Oblivionis card, funnily enough. This is a burner at Encore step. So at the start of the Encore step, when this card is placed on stage from your hand, you can pay 2 stock in order to deal 2 damage to your opponent. And then additionally, when she's placed on stage from hand, you can give one of your characters 1500 power until end of turn, which is the less important of the 2 effects by a lot. That Encore Step Pay 2 Burn is very useful in the optimized versions of the Ave Mujica themed decks. It has very good synergy with the level 3 Dolores combo, which we will get to in a bit. So here we have our 3 copies of the Gold Bar Climax, and then we'll have the 4th one in the back. Moving on to our red, we have the level 0 Amorous. So this is a tap self salvage, or not tap self salvage, tap self draw Brainstorm 5, and then additionally she has the effect where you can sacrifice her as an act ability in order to give a character 2k until end of turn. Oh, sorry, this one, oh wait, no, it's just a same background, different card. Okay, so here we have the Bonder to the vanilla, as we usually have in these trial decks. So level 0 Dolores. So this one has on play Ditch Bond to the 1/1, and then also gives all copies of that 1/1 1500 power and hand encore, turning them into 7500 hand encores. Usually these are like the first cards that you should be looking to remove when you are adding in more optimized stuff for your trial deck upgrades. Next we have 3 copies of the 4 for the level 0 Timoris. So this is a global 500, and then also has the effect you can pay 1, discard a card, and rest her in order to search your deck for any music character. Pretty solid card, and one that I have run in other sets. So I've run this exact profile in Oshinoko with Volume 2 in the Japanese side. Pretty solid card overall, and definitely a very nice inclusion in the trial deck in order to give you a good bit of selectivity. Okay, next we have level 1 Amorous. This is a 3/5 base, and then during your turn gains 1k. During this card's battle, when the damage you received is not canceled, you can put this card into your stock. So typically on this channel, we have raged a lot about cards that have, during this card's battle, when damage is canceled, you get like a bonus, you get like return it back to hand, things like the Yuki no Riki. But this Amorous has the effect where when damage received is not canceled, which is much more balanced, and it makes it so that like either you are taking damage and you get a stock, or you are canceling the attack and you aren't getting a stock. So you are both winning and losing in that respect when you are playing this variation of the effect. A lot more balanced. That being said, because this card is balanced, it unfortunately sees like no play. Okay, next we have our level assist, as we always have in a trial deck. We have a 2/1 Amorous. This is a level assist, and then at the beginning of your climax phase, you can choose 2 of your characters and give them 1500 power until end of turn. Very big power creep compared to what we've seen from like the very beginning of Bang Dream, where it was like on climax placement, give like one character 1000 power or something like that. For our trial deck counter, we have a memory kick backup. We got to have those in like every single group. I think literally every group in like one form or another has a memory kick counter at this point, at least in the Japanese side, because some of them are like promo cards. But this is going to be the memory kick backup for Ave Mujica. And we also have a 2/1 Timoris. This is on play, gain 6k until end of turn, and then during the turn this is placed on stage from hand. When this card reverses a battle opponent, you can rest one of your other music characters that is standing, and then put the top card of your deck into your stock. And then what's really cool about this card is that it has 2 souls. So we have an 11k 2-soul attacker that can also refund a stock when you reverse your battle opponent. So really cool card here. And then now we have our level 3 finisher for the trial deck, which is the 3/2 Dolores. So this card says, on play, you may heal 1, and then you may pay 1 for the cost. And if you do, you summon a character from your opponent's waiting room to an empty slot on their stage. And so what this does is it allows you to set up her on reverse ability for her climax combo. If your opponent crashes in their entire board as you go to level 3, then normally you would be unable to actually get any finisher combos, but with this card's on play effect, you can ensure that your opponent has something that you can reverse. So the climax combo itself is when you reverse the battle opponent and you have the door climax in the climax area, Black Birthday, this one, then you may pay 1 and discard a card in order to deal 1 damage to your opponent and send the opponent's reverse character to their clock. So it acts as like a double ping 1, where one of them is a burn and one of them is a clock kick. So it's an all right card, if not for the fact that like you have to reverse a battle opponent, but the first effect does definitely help out with alleviating that restriction. For our trial deck event, we have the 1/0 2 Moons Deep into the Forest. This card can be played from your hand without having red, which can be very useful for Ave decks that have like level 1 green combos. And then the actual effect is you choose one of your characters and it gains on reverse. You can look it up to top 2 and add up to 2 characters from among them to your hand and put the rest into your waiting room. So this can act as a potential +1 if you're able to see 2 cards off the top. Similar effect to ones we've seen in other sets like Level 0 Aqua from Hololive, except this one, instead of paying a stock and taking a damage in order to get a potential +2, you are just like losing 1 card by playing the event. All right, and now that we're at the back of the trial deck, we have the last copy of each of our cards, and our second guaranteed foil is going to be at the very back of the pack. Now, as far as the SPs, they should be these 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should be. Where's the? I think it's this one. It should be these 5, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. Actually, no. Is it not these 5? I actually don't remember. But anyways, let's take a look at what our foil is. Okay. I think it might be an SR version of one of the 5 SPs, or it could be an SP, actually. Looks like it's gonna be the Oblivionis level 0 because we skipped it. All right, now is it an SP or is it a triple R? And it's going to be a triple R of the level 0 Oblivionis clock swap, clock bomb climax swap. These are a lot of words. Definitely one of the better potential hits, probably one of the best potential hits that we could have gotten from this trial deck, actually, in terms of the guaranteed foil, just because this card is so playable. And the art definitely goes hard as well on a lot of these cards, specifically for the ones that have like the key visual arts. Unfortunately, because this is a set based on the 2 seasons of anime, the MyGO anime and the Ave Mujica anime, there are going to be quite a few anime screenshots in this set, which can be a little bit of a letdown for those of you who are like art collectors. But the trial deck definitely has some really nice arts. And then hopefully we'll be able to pull some really cool SRs in this set as well, because there are a lot of nice alternate arts that come in this set. So that is going to do it for our trial deck, and we're going to get right into our first booster box after a quick cleanup. Okay guys, we're back with box 1 of 2 for our MyGO Ave Mujica booster boxes. Before we get into the box, we are first going to be going over the expected ratios for each box and each case. So for each box, we're going back to the usual ratios, unlike the previous box that we opened, which was Colorful Stage. That one had some pretty whack ratios considering how long ago it came out in JP. But this one is just all on the new ratios in both JP and English. We're going to be looking at 3 to 4 double Rs per booster box and 3 guaranteed foils in every single booster box as well. And then as far as the high rarity stuff, there are many different high rarities that we can look forward to in our boxes. So first of all, we have the SPs. There are expected 2 SPs per sealed case of booster boxes and 1 SSP as well. So as far as the SPs go, I believe there are 10 possible SPs. Yeah, there are 10 possible SPs and 10 possible SSPs. So just 1 for every single member of both of the groups. And then for the SECs, so Secret Rare, oh, it's not even Secret Rare, Secret Rare Plus. So there are 2 types of Secret Rare Plus, which I believe are the 3-2 Tomori and the 3-2 Dolores that have like this art that you see here on the playmat that has all 5 of the members of their respective groups. And then there are also 3 different Triple Rare Plus climaxes. Those are the ones with like the like completely like frameless, like they're like OFR on crack, and then they have like silver foiling on the text and the trigger. And then we also do have serial rares, which I think is one of the first times that we have seen the SIR rarity in English. Over on the JP side, we have had sets that have like AGRs, the autograph rares, which unfortunately have not made it over here into the English side. But we do have SIRs that can possibly come out of this set. And those ones are going to be the climaxes for, I'm pretty sure it's both of these climaxes again, the level 3 Tomori combo and the level 3 Dolores combo. But for those of you who have not seen the SIRs, those are like vertical climaxes. And so those can, if you do play a deck with one of those, it could be quite confusing. But as far as the expected ratios for the really high rarity stuff, just know that the Triple R Plus and the Secret Rare Plus are not guaranteed in a single case. My rough estimates, probably something like RRR plus, you'll probably see like 1 or like 2 in like every 3 master cases, and then Secret Plus is just like very, very rare. I don't remember the exact like approximation for the Secret Pluses off the top of my head, but just know that you probably need to open quite a few master cases in order to get a single Secret Plus, and so that obviously is going to make them very, very desirable. Now, as far as the box toppers, we do have 10 possible box toppers, 1 for each of the members of the 2 groups. Let's see which one we get out of this one. And we have the Taki going first, and we do have all of the going first and second cards here just to take a look at real quick before we start our first box. So we have, I think, are all the going first just MyGO? Yeah, they are. So going first is always MyGO. So we have Taki, Tomori, Anon, Soyo, and my personal favorite member of MyGO, Rana. Everyone's favorite cat. And then for our going seconds, we have all of our members of Ave Mujica. So those are going to be our first seconds. And let's get into our first box. So this is also a really cool thing that they did with this set in particular, where the left half of the box is all going to be booster packs that have Ave Mujica. So they're like blue packs, or not Ave Mujica, MyGO. So the left side is all going to be MyGO packs, and the right side is going to be all Ave packs. The contents are going to be the same, but it's just really cool that they have like 2 different flavors of booster packs. It kind of reminds me of like how like Pokemon packs, for a single set, you can have like 3 or 4 different Pokemon that are the cover art. And so this is kind of the same deal. All right, let's just get right into it. We'll start with the Ave side first. Now, as far as competitive viability, as I was mentioning earlier in the video, this set is extremely viable. Arguably even like one of the top dogs for the format. English obviously does have a lot of differences compared to the Japanese format. We have very different decks running around at very different power levels. We have like almost full power Nino. We have like 7 Deadly Sins, which JP doesn't have. And so bringing BanG into this unfamiliar environment might yield different results, but overall I think it's going to be a very strong deck for the upcoming meta. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at our first double R. So we have definitely my pick for one of the top 3 cards of the set, which is the level 0 Timoris. This is what we in the biz call a Chiuri effect. So Chiuri being like the jargon for when a card says, when this card is sent from stage to waiting room, you can discard a card to look at up to top 4 cards of your deck and add a traded character from among them to your hand, in this case a music character. So yeah, we're going back to music trait being the central trait for these cards, and so we do have a lot of old support from the older BanG sets that we can look at in terms of our deck building. And so this Timoris has the bonus effect on its Chiuri effect, where if you see a copy of the Timoris within those top check 4, you can also send it to the bottom of your stock, which is absolutely ridiculous. This card just like generates stock for no reason if you just get lucky, and that incentivizes you to play 4 copies of this card in your deck when you are playing this card at all. That being said, this is pretty much an auto-include 4 of in any music deck, just because it is so universally useful and so extremely powerful, giving you that free mill without having to use any stock. It gives you a discard outlet, it gives you deck speed, and just sometimes you just get an extra stock. Just an absolutely bonkers card. Okay, for our first rare of the box, we have a functional reprint, the level 2 Taki. So this is a free refresh backup. So when you use the backup, you can pay an additional 2 to free refresh yourself. This is a card that we have already seen in the very first BanG set on a level 2 Arisa. And now it is being reprinted here in the MyGO Ave pack, just so it's a lot easier to get. Unfortunately, another card from the very first BanG set that is not easy to get and quite expensive, and we would have definitely liked to see a reprint, is the level 3 Arisa Fumio. And unfortunately, that card is going to be quite a difficult find, I think, on the English side. Okay, let's get into... Oh, so one thing to mention is that apart from the MyGO and Ave Mujica traits, which of course are going to be like the two main traits of the set. We do actually have like a sub trait, or like a sub archetype of cards, which is the Krychik cards. This Mutsumi in particular does not have the Krychik trait, but there are some other ones that do, such as this 2/1 Soyo. And so they do have a little bit of like internal synergy with each other, particularly with like the Krychik event and Krychik trait characters. Here we have the minus soul counter for MyGO, so pretty nice defensive card, and it gives it a pretty nice matchup into the Ave Mujica deck, because the Ave Mujica deck relies on cancel abilities. So if you can reduce their soul, then you can reduce the chance that you actually cancel the damage, and you can maybe only take like 1 or 2 damage from a single swing. So really, really nice card. And for our next rare, we have the 2/0 Mutsumi. This is the changer into the level 2 Mutsumi combo, which if we pull that, we can go over that in a bit. But for now, just know that, yeah, this is a changer. Okay, here we have one of the... or no, this is the one that goes with the Anon level 3. So this... there are many different level 3 combos for MyGO in this set. Funnily enough, Ave only has one level 3 climax combo in this entire set, which is the level 3 Dolores. And yeah, MyGO has like 9. So MyGO has 8 in the set. So the reason it has 8 is because one of them is the level 3 Tomori, which is like the main intended MyGO finisher. And then we also have like a 5-piece Exodia combo, and then we also have a double combo, which is the Tomori and Anon one. This is the 5-piece combo, so like we'll just like leave all of these on the side, I guess. For our next rare, we have the level 1 Tomori. So between the two decks, Ave Mujica is a much more general use deck. It just kind of like just plays the game. I guess if I had to pick out a theme for what the Ave cards do, is they have a lot of cards that can like sacrifice other cards or sacrifice themselves, and then they also have some really good changers, because their theme, I guess, is like they have their like normal versions, and then they have their on-stage versions that have the mask, and so you have some really efficient changers, which I guess is kind of like them putting on the mask. So that would be the theme for the Ave Mujica deck if I had to like pick out a theme, but it plays like a much more generalist playstyle. The MyGO deck revolves around Resonate, and so that means that you need to reveal specific cards in your hand in order to activate effects. And then it also has cards such as this level 1 Tomori, which is Experience Resonate. So you have to reveal a character in your hand that has the same name as a card that you have in your level zone. This is a mechanic that we first saw in Japanese in Rear Sekai, I believe, which is a set that probably none of you have heard of. But very interesting mechanic, and it incentivizes you to run a lot of 4-ofs in your deck so that you can have a copy in your level zone as well as a copy in your hand to work with. And so this Tomori is on play. You can discard a card and then resonate with level, and then you get to look at up to top 4 and add a music character from among them to your hand. So really strong effect. In the Weiss scene, we call this the Akatsuki effect, which is the on-play variation of the Chiyuri effect. So Chiyuri is on death, Akatsuki would be on play. Just for those of you, if you hear those within like any of your discussions or anything, that's what those mean. This card also gains 4k power during your turn, bringing it up to a very powerful 7k on offense, and it has a soul trigger. So, just soul triggers on costless cards. We love those here on the Tressa's Collectibles channel. No, we don't. Okay, anyways, moving on to our next pack. We have our first SR, which is going to be the level 0 Sakiko Brainstorm. So this is the main brainstorm that you're going to be running if you want a brainstorm for your Ave Mujica, or not your Ave Mujica, for your Ave Mujica. They're going to be the main brainstorm if you want to run a mono Ave Mujica deck. So this card is a tap self-salvage brainstorm, and it also has the effect at the beginning of your climax phase. You can put the top 2 cards of your deck into the waiting room, and if there was a climax among them, then all of your music characters get plus 500 power until the end of the turn. kind of like I guess like the strategy behind using this mill is that because Ave Mujica does have those changer cards that require the target in the waiting room, you can use this Brainstorm's effect at the start of the climax phase, mill 2 cards. Maybe if you don't have those change targets in your waiting room already, you can use this mill 2 to try to get them into your waiting room and change into them. For uncommon, this is one of my favorite cards in the set. This is an extremely powerful card, the level 2 Amorous. So this is a global 2k to all of your other characters during your turn. And then also she has the effect, you can sacrifice one of your other music characters on stage and rest her to draw a card. So this has many different implications. This can make it so that you can use an on-play effect of another character and then sacrifice it to make room for something new to take its place because you just wanted to use the on-play effect. You can also use it to proc on-death abilities during your main phase without having to like play over cards. So you can use effects like the Timoris level 0, just rest this, sacrifice Timoris, use her effect, and then you just don't, like, normally you have to like play over stuff in order to use on death abilities, but this makes it so that you don't. This also has amazing synergy with a level 3 early play Mortis, as well as basically just any 4 or more early play. Normally, if you want to play multiple copies of a 4 or more early play in the same turn, you have to either play over something or you have to like find a way to get something off the field. This Amorous is a perfect way to clear a slot on stage in order to play a second 4 or more early play within the same turn. So amazing card. And here we have Buns for Luck, but not really. So this is a reprint of the 2-1 stock swap event, also known colloquially as the Bread event. The original stock swap event from Girls Band Party 1. Now, funnily enough, these cards both have the exact same name in the Japanese version, but in the English version, they actually, they're probably going to have to errata this, but it does have a different name in the English version. In the original Girls Band Party 1 release, it was called Buns for Luck, and then in this one, it's called You Can Do It Bread, although like they will probably errata it at some point, I imagine. But yeah, another very nice reprint along with the 2-1 Taki, for those of you who don't want to have to look up those old cards. And for our rare, we have an on-play Draw Ricky. On play, you can pay 1, clock yourself to draw a card. And then also, you can, as an act ability, pay 1, sack this card to look at top check 4 and add a music character from among them to your hand. Pretty solid card. But honestly, outclassed by some of the other very strong level 0 options that we have available. In particular, the Timoris level 0 that we already pulled is already a really good way to like get through the deck and things like that. And we have other more efficient ways to like plus ourselves with a pay 1 clock, or just like use a pay 1 top check 4. We can definitely probably just use Brainstorms honestly instead of that. This level 0 Nyamu, so Nyamu being the IRL name of Amorous. And she is like a internet influencer, so you can see her like streaming right now. So this card's effect is at the beginning of your attack phase, you can choose up to 2 of your music characters and give them 1k power until end of turn. This is the timing is really important because beginning of your attack phase would be like after you've done like all your change effects and things like that. And then as an act ability, if you're level 2 or higher, you can pay 1 and rest this card and then sack it in order to bring out the 2-1 Amorous. I actually don't really like using this card because I think it's just better throughout the early game to have double Brainstorm. And then when you eventually want to play a 2-1 Amorous, I just move one of the Brainstorms up, play the 2-1 Amorous in the back row, and then I can either attack with the Brainstorm or I can sacrifice it with the Amorous effect to draw a card. Okay. This is a really interesting card. It's not one that really sees play, but this is actually kind of like a flavor card. Mutsumi being a character that suffers from like multiple personality disorder, and so this card is a very good reflection of that. When this is placed on stage from hand, you can put the top card of your deck underneath this face up as a marker, and then depending on the color of the marker, she gains different effects. So if she has a green marker, she gains 10,000 power during your turn, and then if she has a red marker, she becomes a level 1 bomb, and then also has the effect when this card becomes reversed, you can put it into your stock. So very, very interesting card, and pretty nice flavor as well. We have the level 0 Nyamu. So this is an on-death, pay 1, clock the top card of your deck, top check 2, add 2. So like the Aqua effect from Hololive, but it does clock the top card of your deck instead of clocking a character from your waiting room. And it doesn't have any other effect as well, but still a very solid card nonetheless. Can potentially net you a +2 if the top 2 cards of your deck are both valid targets. All right, I think this might be the first time in English that we have gotten what me and my friends, we call the Grisaya book, because it originally was printed in Grisaya Phantom Trigger in JP. So this is a book climax, but it has a completely different effect than what we are used to. Normally, all the way up until this point, book climaxes have had just the 1k1 climax that we are used to seeing on all of the special trigger climaxes like Door and Gold Bar. But this book instead has an on-play auto effect, where when you play this climax, you draw up to 1 card, and then you choose up to two of your characters and give them +1 soul until end of turn. So it does cantrip when you play it, making it, in my opinion, significantly more playable. That being said, this Rana combo is like pretty whatever. But in some other sets, we have seen some pretty strong book combos with this on-play book effect. And so I'm definitely excited to see what additional climax combos they can print on these Grisaya books. Okay, here we have the infamous level 1 Sakiko Changer. So this is one of the cards that actually just got restricted on the JP ban list. So it is restricted alongside the level 3 Arisa Fumio, as well as the 2-1 Bread Stock Swap event. So you need to choose between those 3 in your deck building. This card is honestly kind of silly. This card says on play you have optional mill 3, and then at the beginning of your climax phase, you can rest this standing card and then swap it with the level 1 Oblivionis combo from your waiting room, and you give it 1k power for some reason. Like what is this? Like the Oblivionis combo is already swinging for like fairly decent power, and then you can add this extra 1k on top just for using the changer. The on-play mill 3 can be used to get copies of it into your waiting room as well, and it's just like, you basically just get to run 8 copies of your climax combo, and then half of them have mill 3 and also give the change target 1k, and it's just like, yeah, it's just really, really silly card. Here we have another part of the Exodia combo. Here we have the other climax swap. So earlier in the trial deck, we were talking about the level 0 Oblivionis, which is an on-play pay 1 climax swap. And then here we have the level 0 Taki from the set, which is an on-play sack a character climax swap. And it still climax swaps from waiting room. So another excellent option. She also has the effect where on attack, you can give another character 1k cross turn and flavor trait, because she serves everybody matcha parfaits. So she can give them the matcha trait. Okay, this is the 2-1 Mortis that is the change target for the 2-0 Mutsumi. So, yeah, just as I've been saying throughout pretty much all of the Ave Mujica stuff, we have like these changers that they change from their IRL like normal version to their like on stage like masked version. So this is the Mutsumi change. So it's a 2-0 that can change into the 2-1 Mortis. This card says during your turn, if all of your characters are music, that's +4k, so swings for 11k and 12k with climax. And then at the beginning of your attack phase, if you have the climax in play and this card is in your front row, and you have another character, you get to blind stock 1, and then you can either search your deck or salvage the 2-0 changer so that you can go back into it. And it's really nice because this is a 2-0 that changes into a 2-1, so you can just go into it for free. Okay. We haven't hit a double R in a bit. This uncommon. For our first rare on the MyGO side, we have the level 0 Anon. So this card has kind of a similar role to the level 0 Laplace from Hololive, where you use Laplace to search out the, or not, is it a plus? It's the level 0 Laplace helmet that searches the level 3 Laplace in order to use it for Resonate. This Anon has the same role where you use it to search the level 3 Tomori that you can use for Resonate. And then additionally, she has a Resonate effect of her own where you reveal the level 3 Tomori in your hand at the start of your climax phase in order to gain 2k cross turns. So she becomes a 3-5 beater. Very solid card. And here we have our next double R, which is the level 3 Dolores. So this card says on play from hand, or when you change into it with the level 2 Uika, you heal. And then climax combo is with a door climax. Have we pulled it yet? We have not pulled it yet. But it's a climax combo with a door, and it says on attack you can pay 1, discard 1, and then you gain an effect until the end of the turn, which is on cancel, deal X damage to your opponent, where X is the amount of damage that got canceled. So let's say you swing for 3, and then it gets canceled, you deal 3 damage to your opponent. And then after you have burned your opponent, you get to choose one of your other characters, and you get to pass the ability to that character. And so that character will also have an instance of the on cancel, deal X damage. And then what's really cool, and by cool I mean really toxic, is that not only do you not have to pay the stock for that extra instance that you passed to the other character, you don't, or you even get to pass it again if that attack also cancels. So let's say you play triple Dolores. So let's just pretend that like these two are also Dolores. So let's say you attack with this one, you pay cost, and it cancels, you deal 3 damage to your opponent, and you can pass it here. And then this one attacks, and you pay cost. If this cancels, you deal, let's say you swing for 3, and it cancels, you deal 3 damage to your opponent from the one that she has, and then you deal 3 damage to your opponent again from the one that was passed to her by the first one, and then both of them get to pass to the third one. So you attack with this one, and let's say this one also cancels. You get to deal 3 damage for this one that passed, deal 3 damage for this one that passed, and deal 3 damage for her own. And so you can get a ton of instances of damage. And then if you really want to be super capped endgame, what you can do is you put the level 3 Oblivionis from the trial deck in your back row. And then after this one has canceled, you pass all of the instances to the level 3 Oblivionis, and then you use her Encore Step ability to burn 2. And if that cancels, you get to burn 2, potentially up to 3 more times. And so this is the like super omega cap endgame board for the Ave Mujica Dolores top end. And so it can be extremely scary. And basically when you're playing this endgame, you want them to cancel all the attacks, and then you want them to take all of the cancel burns. That is the ideal scenario when you're playing this deck. And it can be really spooky, for sure. Okay, another Exodia piece. We have the level 0 Rana combo with the book. This card says when this attacks, if you have another music character, you can top check 3, add a character to your hand, send the rest to waiting room. I think we have learned through many examples of level 0 combos that work from back row that on attack combos for level 0 are not very desirable by comparison. So unfortunately, this card does not see very much play. Oh, here is a... Oh, okay, hold the phone. Okay. Here is a really cool common card that I think is quite underrated, and just like the sheer average power of like some of the other zeros that come from the Ave Mujica pack, Ave Mujica MyGO pack, just like kind of put this card in the shadows. But I think this card is very solid. So this is a level 0 Soyo that says on attack you trigger twice, and then the top card of your stock falls into waiting room. And then at the end of her attack, you can pay 1, discard a card to search. And so this gives you the additional chances to trigger climaxes for plussing, while also giving you the ability to flexibly pay out a climax if you trigger one. So typically the problem with this type of twin drive, the like trigger twice and then the top one falls off, is that unlike a pay 1 twin drive, you don't have the opportunity to like pay out climaxes on the fly. But because this effect activates at the end of the attack, it does give you that flexibility, which I think makes this card really nice. And a potential candidate for your decks if you were looking for some extra utility, maybe some extra triggering. All right, now on to our second foil. This is definitely one of the best SR foils that we could have pulled from the box, which is the level 3 Dolores. Every single card in this pack can come SR, and so it is extremely hard to hit the ones that you want. And so the ones that go into the meta decks are extremely sought after, and on the JP side are extremely expensive. Like there are some SRs that are like 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 yen, and this is definitely one of those cards. And so as we can see here, we do have the alternate art, the one that is on like the playmat, it's on the booster pack, it's on the box art, and so this card looks really nice. Very happy with that SR pull. We need to finish the pack though. We have the Bouncer. This card is a on-play top check 3, rearrange, and bounce one of your opponent's characters. And then it has the same alarm as the level 3 Himeno from Chainsaw Man, where you can discard a card and then level down one of your opponent's characters. Here we have the level 0 Oblivionis. This is a really good card as well. So it is a... If all of your characters are music, which they will be, then she gains both the clean cut effect, which allows you to move one of your other characters to back row after attacking with it. And then also she has the ability where when she reverses opponent's character, you can send the top card of your opponent's clock to waiting room and then send the opponent's reverse character to clock. So she can deny like on death abilities as well, in addition to being a clean cut. Really, really powerful card. Okay. And for our last SR, or I guess this is a triple R because it's a climax. For our last foil, we have, what the heck is going on here? Okay, so this is the Rana book that we've already looked at, but you guys might not be able to see it on camera. Maybe we'll try to get it in the close-up. But this card, it says you're not playing in the name, but like behind it, you can see the foiling for a different name. What climax is that? It's not any of the ones that we pulled already, but you can see a bit of subtle printing, a foil printing of a different climax name. And then also if we see over here the text box, it has some foiling at the top. So this is definitely supposed to be for a different climax type. Very strange. Because the foiling around Rana is normal. But it's just the foiling for this part is not correct. So very, very strange card. But yeah, this is going to be our third foil for the box. And then we have 1 or 2 more double Rs left to go. Here we have the 2-1 Misumi, or not Misumi, oh, Jesus. The 2-1 Uika changer to the Dolores. I'm just reading words at this point. So this 2-1 Uika, just like the level 1 Sakiko changer, is honestly just like a really absurd card. So this card is both a changer and a time machine. So you can play this card at level 2, and then if you reverse an opponent's character, you can send the Uika to memory, and then at the start of your next turn, you bring it back. And so that ensures that you will be able to change into the Dolores while still being able to commit the Uika onto the stage at level 2. Notably, this card has 8,500 power, which is the like standard stat line for level 2s, but it doesn't have a soul trigger, which is what allows it to have that extra power. Now, her actual change effect is at the start of your climax phase, you can discard a card and rest this card to swap it with the Dolores from your waiting room, which does proc the on-play heal. But the really stupid part is that when you do this, you give the Dolores +1 soul. And so you're automatically, just by default, you're swinging for 4 with an on-cancel attached to it. So it's a very, very easy way to just leverage that on-cancel ability. It's just like a really, really just like silly strong card. And for our rare, we have the level 1 Uika. For those of you who are Data Live players, this will be a very familiar card to you, because this is the same as the level 1 Kurumi that can sacrifice yourself to give 2k, and then on death, you can dig through the top 3 cards of your deck to try to find a climax, and if you do find one and add it to your hand, then you discard a card. So, very, very nice card. You can just sacrifice this with her own effect to give 2k, or you can also sacrifice her with a card such as the 2-1 Amorous in order to get that ability during the main phase without having to minus yourself. So another fantastic application for this 2-1. For our third double R, we have the level 3 Tomori. So we pulled both main finishers, the main finisher for Ave and the main finisher for MyGO. So the Tomori is the other main like finisher of the set, like between these two. So her climax combo is actually not the finisher. So the climax combo says when you play her climax, which is a pants, you search your deck for 2 characters and add them to your hand. That's the entire combo. And so what the idea is you search your deck for a bunch of characters, and it allows you to fuel her other effect. During the turn this card is placed on stage from your hand, you can discard 2 cards and then resonate with a card in your level zone, and then you can either choose to heal 2, or you can mill the top 4 cards of your own deck, and then for each climax that was milled, you get to burn 2 that many times. So let's say you like mill 3 climaxes, you burn 2, burn 2, burn 2. And so because the climax combo is thinning cards from your deck by searching, you have a much higher chance of getting those climaxes in the mills and dealing a lot of damage to your opponent. And so like realistically, what you want to be happening going into your level 3 turn is you probably just want to be taking a bunch of damage and just going to like 3-5 so that all your climaxes are still left in your deck and you just mill a bunch. And you just deal like 1 trillion damage to your opponent. So that's probably the optimal situation. That being said, you still want enough non-climax cards in your deck that you can search off of the Tomori combo. That is very important. For our rare, we have the 3-2 Anon. This is the one that goes with the 3-2 Tomori that we pulled earlier. And so the idea here is that you want to use Anon to climax combo Clock Kick. And it goes with a door, I believe. Yeah, so it goes with this door. So you want to be using Anon to reverse the opponent's character and then send them to clock. And then you want to have her swap places with a Tomori while rested. And then Tomori is going to attack. And then she's going to stand the Anon. So the Anon can now attack into another lane and also clock kick that lane. And then if you have another Tomori, then you can swap that with the other Tomori. And Tomori can stand her again, and then you can clock kick again. So that is the idea behind this deck. It's a like restanding, moving clock kick. All right, last pack of box 1. Let's see if we can get a 4th double R. We have the level 0 helmet for Oblivionis. Unfortunately, not a double R, but this is the helmet effect where you can discard a card and sacrifice her to salvage any character. Additionally, she has the effect where on play you can blink one of your opponent's characters, send it to memory, and bring it back immediately. That can get rid of like lingering cross-turn effects. And if you really, really need to, what you can do is you can play Oblivionis, blink one of your opponent's characters, discard a card, sacrifice her, get her back, play her again, blink another one of your opponent's characters, which can be very useful against like matchups where your opponent has like minus soul effects, such as like Sora from Hololive. Your opponent fields like a bunch of Soras and you really need to do damage, just like blink your opponent's entire board. Here we have the Wombo Combo Tomori. We don't need this one here anymore because we already talked about it. And for our last rare, we have the 3-2 Timoris combo. Or not combo, but 3-2 Timoris. So this card gains 4-5 on play from hand, and then your opponent, neither player can use backups during this card's battle. And then during the turn that this card is placed on stage from hand, when this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, you can discard a card in order to salvage 2 characters. Now, what's interesting about this card is that it only has 1 soul, which allows it to have that 11k power, but ultimately we would like it to have 2 soul for a card that we are paying 2 stock for. I think this one actually can be brought out by a level 2 climax combo. Support base, this brings out... No, this brings out... Yeah. This brings out the level 3. So this allows you to bring it out at level 2. And potentially just have like a huge body on board and salvage some characters for later stages of the game, like level 3, without having to worry about like anti-change backups because she turns off backups with her own effect. Okay, that's going to be it for our first box. We got 3 double Rs and we got a couple really nice SRs between the Brainstorm and especially the 3-2 Dolores. So hopefully we can have just as good pulls in our second box, maybe even an SP. I'm going to leave these 4 out on the side because we do need to talk about this very interesting combo, but for the rest, we're just going to go ahead and clean up and come back with our second box. Okay, here we go with box number 2. Oh, and I guess it just decided to, the plastic wrap just decided to fall apart on its own for that one. All right, let's see what our second going first second card is. We did get a going second to go with our going first cards. We have the Nyamu / Amorous going second. Let's get packs. Here we go, box number 2. Let's start with the MyGO side this time. All right. Oh, and we immediately have a triple R climax, Uta Kotoba. I don't remember which climaxes off the top of my head go with which. Oh, nope, never mind. This is the Exodia combo. So this is the climax that goes with the 5-piece. And then for our rare, we have the level 1 Tomori. This is the last piece we need, the level 3 Rana. Okay, so now we can talk about the 5-piece combo. So this is the level 3 Tomori. Her on-play effect is you search your deck for up to 4 MyGO characters and then just dump them straight into your waiting room. And so the idea is you're supposed to just dump all of these. Just get them from your deck, just put them in your waiting room. And then the climax combo itself, which is with our triple R climax, Utakotoba, is during your climax phase, when you play the climax, and this card is in the front row center slot, which is, where Tomori goes, that's her position on stage as the vocalist, you can discard 5 MyGO characters, and then if you do, you choose one of each of these, and you play them in separate slots on your stage. And so each of these actually has their own specific... I opened a MyGO pack, or I opened an Ave pack, whatever. Each one of these has its own slot on stage that it's supposed to go in that corresponds to their position on stage. So Taki goes in the back left, the Anon goes in the front right, Rana goes in the front left, and then Soyo goes in the back right. And then all of these have a climax combo, an on-play ability, and a climax combo ability. So let's see. So the Rana is a top check 3 add 1. The Anon is draw 2 ditch 1. Taki is beginning of attack phase. You can pay 2, discard a card, and this card gets to attack from back row. And then Soyo is on play, heal 1, and then beginning of attack phase, you discard 1 and rest this. So you can discard 1 from one of the cards that you got off of either the Rana or the Anon. And then you deal 1 damage to your opponent, and all of your characters get plus 1500 until end of turn. And then the combo for Rana is on attack, pay 1, ditch 1, burn 3. And Anon is on attack, choose one of your characters and give it on cancel, burn 2. So you probably want to be attacking with Anon first and giving the on cancel ability to the Rana, because the Rana is going to have the most damage coming out of her since she has both her attack and her burn. And so yeah, it's not very good. It does require you to play all of these level 3 names, and yeah, honestly, it just doesn't have very much payoff, even compared to the Quince Exodia deck. That one does have a lot more setup required because you have to get all the markers underneath your Futaro, but this one just seems quite underwhelming compared to even just the normal climax combos. So if you want to play a fun MyGO themed budget deck, this is definitely a deck that you could look into, but just from looking at the cards, I'm not particularly impressed, to be completely honest. Okay, for our rare, we have the level 0 Soyo Riki. So in the Rhodesia deck, we have the Yuki no Riki, which is the on-play pay 1, clock top part of your deck to search for level 1 or lower. This Soyo has the exact same ability, but the Yukina has that extra on-cancel bounce back effect, whereas the Soyo does not have a second effect. That being said, if you do want to prioritize MyGO trait, or maybe you want to prioritize red or something, you could run this. But typically, you will probably want to be running the Yuki no Riki if you want to run an on-play Riki effect. Okay, for our first double R, we have a repeat. We have the level 3 Dolores. And then for our climax combo, or for our rare, we have the climax combo Amorous, which is a 1/0 2k with a soul trigger. On attack, she gains 1,000 times the number of opponent's characters, so she can potentially go up to 8k power if she attacks while your opponent has a full board and you have a climax in play. And then her climax combo is at the beginning of your encore step, you can sacrifice one of your other characters on stage in order to top check 2 and add up to 2. And then you can blink one of your opponent's characters. I'm not totally sure what the idea is behind blinking an opponent's character at encore step. Yeah, I'm honestly not totally sure what that's there for. I'm pretty sure I asked that question when they first revealed the card. And let me see what I came up with real quick. Hold up. I'm gonna just check my chat logs. Okay, so apparently the best thing that I could come up with is if your opponent has a back row that has markers underneath it, you can blink it to get rid of the marker or something. Maybe there's some flavor implication behind it that I am just not aware of, but yeah, I'm just not totally sure. Okay, anyways, next pack, here we go. Okay, we have the level 1 Soyo. Oh god, I don't remember what this resonates. Does this just resonate with level 3? I think it just resonates with, yeah, it resonates with level 3 Tomori. So this is on attack, you can pay 1 and resonate in order to salvage 1. So this is just a free or not free, but like it's just pay 1, salvage 1, and then when your other character attacks, it gets 1k. Fairly solid. It's a fairly solid card, but at the same time, you're competing level 1 slots with really good cards like the Tomori level 1 in the MyGO deck. Ooh, okay, this is a really, really nice art. So the 1/1 Rana for our second SR. So I believe this one is a free refresh. Yeah, so this is a 1/1 free refresh on play. You can discard a card and then reveal the level 3 Tomori in your hand, and then you get to free refresh. I really, really love the art on this, though. Like the art style is just like super nice. Level 2 Mortis. Where are the double R's? Hello? Double R's, where are you? Level 3 Rana. This is an early play if you have... Okay, I really want them to print this more. This card has the early play condition if either player has 2 or less climaxes in their waiting room. I really, really, really hope they continue to print this more. I am a big fan of this, especially now that 2 or less climax in waiting room, just like when you have 2 or less climax in waiting room, early plays have just like really started to fall out of favor compared to 4 or more on board early plays, which is really interesting because 2 or less climax early plays used to be like, they used to be like the best thing. Oh, SP, hello there. Unfortunately, not one. I think this is probably the worst SP we could have pulled, but like really nice SP nonetheless. The 3/2 Timoris, that level 3 combo that we looked at earlier. Wow, the artwork on these are just like so good. Like I said, just like a lot of the alternate artworks that you get from a lot of these foil cards just look so good, and this card is no different. And these ones are the SPs at least are all character signs, and I think that the Secret Plus, I don't actually remember what's on the Secret Plus, so I'll hold on one sec. Okay, so the SSPs are the Seiyu signatures, and the SPs are character signs. Okay. Okay, but yeah, really, really nice. And the normal version of the combo in the exact same pack. Okay. Also, I just want to comment on like how this SP, because it has like the like OFR like frameless bottom, I think it just goes really, really well with the like black background. Just like really, really nice color aesthetics going on here. Oh, and another repeat double R. Very cool. So I guess that means our third double R will be the Tomori level 3. Level 0 Dolores. So this card has the like Rico effect, where on play you can discard a card, reveal the top card of your deck, salvage level X or lower. But this one has 2k power instead of the usual 1k, in exchange for only being able to salvage Ave Mujica characters. So if you're playing in a mono Ave Mujica deck, then you can definitely run this. That being said, I think that the best brainstorm to be running is the Soyo brainstorm if you're not running an explicitly pure Ave Mujica deck. And Dolores being unable to grab the Soyo brainstorm definitely, I think, is like honestly a good enough reason to, like, if you want to run a Rico effect, you just run the normal one with just like 1k power. Oh my god, it was a joke, guys. It was a joke. It was a joke. But we pulled another copy of the 3/2 Tomori from this pack. Oh my god, it was a joke. Oh, this is actually a really good card for the MyGO deck, in my opinion. So this is a level assist. When you play a climax, you can discard a card and resonate with the Tomori in order to salvage any character, so just like a free hand fix. And then also, you can rest her to level swap, so you can make sure that you have the proper cards in your level zone in order to resonate for cards such as the Tomori level 3. That being said, because the Tomori just like salvage it, like if you play triple Tomori, you just search 6 cards from your deck, you're pretty likely to find something that you have in your level zone if you don't already just have a card to resonate with already in your hand before you even search. So it's honestly not that much of a problem. If anything, this is probably more for the level 1 Tomori, because you will only have like 1, maybe 2 cards in your level zone at that point. It can be much harder to actually have the proper card. Please fourth double R, so that I actually have something more to talk about before the end of the video, before we get into the recap. Can I be greedy and have 4 double Rs and an SP in one box, please? Please, 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 please. Oh, no. We got the same double Rs in 2 boxes. Okay, so that's going to do it for our second box. We did, of course, pull our beautiful Timoris Umiri SP. And yeah, we'll be right back with the other double Rs because we have many double Rs to talk about. Okay, guys, so we are back with our double Rs, and in the spirit of having our 2 bands on the left and the right, we have them set up in their like band formations. So we can take a look at each of the double Rs that we haven't pulled one by one, and there are a lot of them, unfortunately. Now, the really cool thing about the MyGO pack is that all of these double Rs are super playable. Like, all of them go into one of the 2 top decks from the set, except Rana. Unlucky. Like, Rana is my favorite, but this card is kinda just... It's not a bad card, it's just not a great card. And, like, I feel like in this set, in order to make the cut, you need to be like an insanely strong card, and that is what a lot of these other 9 double Rs are. So let's just start with the Rana. So Rana is a runaway runner. So if she has a character across from her, she can run to an empty slot in your front row. And then at the beginning of either player's attack phase, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it is a music character, she gets 3,000 until end of turn. So this allows her to be both a 4K attacker and a 4K runaway runner. You can also order the abilities in such a way that like you can reveal the top card of your deck to get the power boost, and then you get to choose whether or not you want to move. The problem is that because of the requiring the top check in order to get the power, it's just not a reliable enough card, and you would rather just run more consistent cards at level 0. And so unfortunately, Rana is the one card among the 9 that really just does not make the cut. For our brainstorm, this is, in my opinion, now the best brainstorm in all of BanG, which is the level 0 Soyo. This card is a tap self-salvage brainstorm, and when you play a climax, you get to give one of your characters the Crush effect, where you get to look at up to top 2 and choose one of them to be your trigger. Or maybe not your trigger. It could be in combination with certain abilities, such as Tomori level 3. So we've seen these kinds of brainstorms that give Crush effects in sets such as Hololive on Suisei, in quintessential quintuplets on Ichika, and to a lesser extent Nino, because Nino is a top check 3 brainstorm. But historically, these brainstorms have been extremely powerful every time they get printed, and this is no exception. This Soyo even gets to be 2k power for some reason, because they made it so that her salvage on her brainstorm effect can only target music characters. So she just gets to be 2k for fun compared to those other ones which are 1500. It's just like, I don't know, dude, like... Yeah, but you can use this effect in combination with many different cards. You can use it with, for example, maybe you want to run the Toilet event, That Irritating Girl Arisa event. You can use the Soyo to top check 2 and then decide which of the 2 cards on top you want to add to your hand off the Toilet effect. You can use it in combination with something such as the level 0 Amorous. Let's say you play a Climax. We'll get to what the Amorous does in a sec, I guess, but like you can kind of use it the same way as you would with like the Toilet event. You can also use it with the level 3 Tomori. So the Tomori, we said earlier how it allows you to mill 4, and then you burn damage to your opponent equal to the number of climaxes times, or like you deal 2 damage per climax milled. So what you can do is you can use Soyo to give the effect to Tomori, and then when you swing with Tomori, what you do is you look at the top 2 cards of your deck. If you see a non-climax, then you just send it to your waiting room, and that gives you an extra chance to mill a climax with her on-attack effect. So it's just a really good card. Just having trigger information, trigger flexibility is always really useful, even when you're not combining her with these other strong abilities. So just overall, in my opinion, best brainstorm available. The next one we have is the level 1 Taki. This is the main climax combo that you're going to be running in the MyGO deck. So this card has plus 2k power during your turn to bring her up to 6-5 without climax and 7-5 with climax. And then her climax combo is at the end of her attack, you can pay 1 and resonate with the level 3 Tomori in order to choose 2 characters from your waiting room. One of them goes to your hand as a salvage, and the other one will go to the bottom of your stock, which replaces the stock that you paid to use the effect. This makes it so that your stock is like basically always clean. If you trigger a climax with the Taki, then you can just pay it out. And then for anything that's not a Taki, what you can do is you can use Soyo's effect to give the top check 2 to make sure that you aren't triggering a climax on that attack. So really strong setup. For our final double R for MyGO, we have the level 3 Anon. This card says on play, you can either salvage a music character from your waiting room for free, or you can pay 1 to salvage a climax from your waiting room. So very great consistency tool for your level 3 to make sure you always have your level 3 climax. And then in addition, she's also a on-attack burner. So for those of you who have played as or against That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, you're probably familiar with the level 3 Benimaru, which reveals the top card of your deck and burns level +1. This has the exact same burn effect, but with a different cost and condition. So you don't have to have the 3 colors and level like you do with Benimaru. And instead, the cost is pay 2, discard 1, instead of pay 1, discard a character. Very solid card. Pretty much sees play as a 1 or 2 of in like every single deck, TBH. Like maybe if you're playing a top end that like draws or like digs top check on play, maybe you probably don't need to play this, but for these 2 decks, like the Tomori deck and the Dolores deck, you are definitely going to want to be running this card. This card also serves as a fantastic third front row option if you go like Dolores Anon, because you can pass the burn to the Anon and then use Anon's effect to burn and then proc the on cancel burn effects. And you can also combine her with the Soyo level 0. You use the Soyo, you give her the top check 2, and then you can determine what the top card of your deck is going to be when you follow up with the burn effect. Very strong card. Okay, let's move on to the Ave Mujica side. So we have the level 3 Mortis. This is a fantastic early play card. This is honestly just like such an illegal card. Like, who designed this? So this card is a 4 or more early play, and additionally, it can be played without color. So if you want, this can be the only green card in your deck, and like no problems whatsoever. And it also says on play heal, but if you play it into a full board, you get to heal to stock instead of healing to waiting room, and you don't even have to discard a card like you would normally have to for a on play heal to stock. So this is just a crazy card. It's just a 1 stock 9/5 healer, ignores color, 4 or more early play, and you can combine it with cards like the 2/1 Amorous Support that we've looked at earlier in the video, where you play 1 Mortis to the board, you use the Amorous effect, you rest her, you sack one of your characters, it frees up a slot on board, you can play another Mortis, and then you get double Mortis onto your board for just 2 stock, 3 if you want to count the 1 stock that you used to play the 2/1 Amorous. So just like insanely strong card. I don't know what they were thinking when they designed this thing, but yeah. This is the new standard for early play healers, or like for the top end of early play healers. The level 0 Amorous is our next card. So this is a fantastic level 0 plussing option. So this is an effect that we've usually only seen on level 1 characters, which is on attack. You can sacrifice one of your other characters on stage and then reveal the top card of your deck. And then if that card is a music character, you add it to your hand. And so you can use this to just get rid of random stuff that you are pretty sure is going to get reversed on your next turn. Or even like if you crash a lane, you can use this to just sack whatever character you crash, because it's going to go to waiting room anyway. You might as well just sacrifice it to get that potential plus. Additionally, this card's other effect is on play. This gains 3,000, and you can choose one of your opponent's characters, and until the end of their next turn, that character cannot be moved to a different position on stage. So extremely obnoxious card. The fact that this card can be an anti-runner if your opponent like opens with a runner, and also have 3,500 power backing it up to actually kill your opponent's runner, extremely strong. But also the fact that this is probably like the first, no, actually no, this is the like maybe like the second anti-move level 0 that sees consistent play at 4 copies, with the first one in at least to my recollection being level 0 Hestia from Danmachi. This card just absolutely griefs standby deck. So if you hate standby, then you just like, you have like infinite reason to just put 4 copies of this card into your deck. It's just such a strong card. And then now for our final double R of the box, we have the level 1 Oblivionis, the Sakiko. So this card is during your turn plus 1500 power, and then climax combo. On attack, if you have the gold bar climax in play and you have 2 or more other music characters, you can look it up to top 4, add a music character from among them to your hand, or send it to stock. And if you send it to stock, you gain an additional 1000 power until end of turn. Like, this is how far we've come, guys. We've gotten the level 1 Yukina combo, which was on a book and did not gain extra power and could not send to stock, all the way back in Girls Band Party 1 in 2017. And now here we are in the year 2025, and this card is 7k power after climax, and it can send to stock instead of adding to hand. And if you do, it gains 1000 power, and it has a changer that gives it 1000 power, and has on play mill 3, so you can get these in the waiting room. Like, and it's a gold bar instead of a book. Like, this is how far we've come, guys. For those of you who have been here for like the entirety of like BanG Dream's tenure in Weiss Schwarz, this is the advancement of Weiss Schwarz. It's kind of weird to think that BanG Dream in Weiss Schwarz has been around for almost an entire decade. The first set came out in like 2016, and now we're here in 2025. Like, some people are going to have some like existential midlife crisis stuff in the comments, I'm sure, but like this is where we've come, guys. This is the pinnacle of BanG Dream, and I just look forward to seeing this deck a lot in the competitive scene for sure. Now, before we finish the video, we of course have to do a showcase of some of the beautiful high rarity cards that you can try to pull out of this set. So here we have the SSP Oblivionis. This art is also available on the SR version, which is a big reason why this card is like $60 in Japan for the SR. We have the Mortis early play heal, the 3/2 unknown. And then, like, as I was saying, guys, you could see the artwork being used on the playmat as well. We have the 3/2 Tomori. And then here we have some SRs. So we have the Mortis level 2 combo. This is the Tomoris that we literally just pulled. So we have 2 Tomoris XD. 3/2 unknown. This is the Clock Kick and Move combo. 1/1 Taki level assist, and then we do have 1 triple R plus here as well, which is the Ave Mujica Dolores Climax, and I don't know how well you guys can see it, but we do have like that silver foiling for the trigger, and because this card is frameless on the bottom, it can be a little bit hard to see when you're like going through your waiting room, try to count how many climaxes you have. So yeah, use triple R plus at your own discretion. And just try not to miscount. But yeah, that is going to be our box opening for the MyGO Ave Mujica booster pack. I know I've done a lot of yapping, but there's a lot to talk about both competitively and just in terms of some really cool card effects that have been in this set. So hopefully you guys enjoyed, and stay tuned for our upcoming MyGO and Ave Mujica content block. We'll have the usual stuff like deck profiles, gameplay videos, things like that. So stay tuned for those, and until then, this has been Randall, aka She's a Cat, on the Tressa Collectibles channel, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye!